We are finally here. I couldn't be more excited to have today's guest, who, by the way, Bobbi Watt Geer. Both Bobbi and I took on some roles with our organizations at almost the exact same time. You were 6 months ahead, I think, or 4 to 6 months. But you realize that we are at Neville Island, which, by the way, every time I hear it, sounds like a vacation spot, but it's not. But we're at Neville Island. We are at the Vault Recording Studio. I couldn't be more happy. Why did you ever say yes to this?
I just have this soft spot in my heart for you, Justin, that, I want to be helpful. You're a good guy, and I think maybe I'm a little bit of a foil to your personality as well. So,
talk about the last year of COVID and what the United Way, where your focus has shifted and how it's been helpful in the community.
Yeah. So, what's really interesting, what I tell people is our focus hasn't shifted that much because we're working on these really core and critical needs in the community. Typical things that we had access to where the plug was pulled. Kids were out of school, people were losing their jobs, and so food bank lines were wrapping for miles.
I remember that was the first footage on national, the channels was the Pittsburgh lining up.
Yeah, it was just heartbreaking to see. And we were getting it from all angles, and then to really see as well how the pandemic laid bare the disparities, the inequities in our community.
Right.
Who was suffering the most from, both from getting sick and from the economic impact as well, and then the social and racial inequities in our communities.
So you're dedicated to always doing, I don't want to say the right thing, but by always looking at the inequities. I feel like it's taken chaos. I feel like it's taken natural disasters. I feel like it's taken XYZ for the general public, though, to pick that up. And it's almost like a start and stop. Is that disappointing to you? Or is it like it's just natural and then you use it as a catalyst for change?
Yeah, it can be frustrating, sure, because these are the problems that have always existed.
But that was my point, exactly.
Like pay attention, folks.
Right.
This has been here. So we have certainly plugged into this is an opportunity to let people know this has always been here. And we really need people to pay attention and work with us to address these issues in the community.
Okay, so as you know, it's called Healthy Bytes, BYTES. We need to talk about technology.
Absolutely.
And giving 30 years ago was quite different than giving is now. That's not the case anymore, right? So how has technology changed the way you engage with communities? And one is to help, right? So please talk about 211. Mm-hmm. And the other is around the giving aspect, right? How do you engage with the public to get people to give and give more? Not just dollars, but volunteer hours. Yeah. So that's a loaded question.
Yeah, and a lot of elements to that question. And certainly the pandemic has accelerated all the ways that we do this.
In a good way.
In a good way.
Okay.
In a good way. Because sometimes nonprofit organizations just don't have the capacity, the ability to engage technology in the way that can really propel our mission. We had no choice. We typically at United Way, work with donors in the community, donors at corporations, businesses in the community, and we can't do that in person right now. So we flipped everything to be virtual, from using video, using virtual meetings, virtual events and platforms, and certainly digital tools to enable giving to the organization. So from a giving standpoint, everything flipped to virtual. We did the same thing with volunteer engagement. So in this period of time where people are kind of stuck at home and looking for ways to help, we've been able to make those opportunities be more virtual, more individual than necessarily in groups, which hasn't been safe. But we've been able to engage technology more to be able to do that. And we've certainly, to the piece of your question, the biggest set of innovations has been around 211. And for people who don't know what 211 is if you think if your house is on fire, you're going to call 911. That will be your emergency call. But 211 is for when you're having a personal emergency or you need to be connected to a human service. So if you can't pay your utility bill, you can call 211. If you need connected to food or you need a program or service for an older adult relative or for your children, you can call 211 and get connected to all of that. The beginning of the pandemic, we saw those calls and contacts double overnight. Went from like 500 a day to 1,000 a day. And fortunately, we had already been involved in digitally evolving 211 so that we could communicate by chat, by text, by self-service on our web platform, and by traditional telephone calls, and that we have technology that allows us to route those calls and contacts so they get to the right person who can help them faster. So that's been a huge part of our digital work over the course of the last year.
So you say free rent. What does that mean? So if I call up, I don't have the means to pay the rent. What happens? Like, take us through just the 30-second version of that.
Sure. So the resource navigator will talk with you, learn a little bit about what your circumstances are and whether or not you've applied for assistance anywhere. And then they have at their fingertips a database of probably at this point 8,000 different resources. And they're very well trained to, based on your circumstances, to connect you with. There's a rent assistance program right now that's available through the CARES Act, and we would connect you with that program to help get that paid. Now, in the event that there are no programs immediately available, we also have what's called our Emergency Basic Needs Fund, and that's sort of the fund of the last resort. And we will take an application and then be able to pay your landlord for that rent for the month to be able to get you back on your feet.
Let's talk about the ease of giving in philanthropy this day and age. I want 2 clicks. 2 clicks to give dollars. Talk to me about 2 clicks and how it's an advantage to be able to get there.
Well, absolutely, that life as a fundraiser can be a lot easier by having a digital platform, a tool to be able to say, hey, Justin, here's the link. Click on it.
That's right. So much easier, because I remember 8 years ago, getting phone calls from universities, getting phone calls from United Way and the other 100 organizations, and it seemed like it was just a process. I think technology now has taken over in a good way. One, it provides you data. 2, it provides ease and customer experience. I say customer as in like me giving. And then I think the other thing is around generational aspect, right? I think the generations are changing, obviously. But as far as the expectation, so you can think about any of the websites we all buy these goods on so there's an expectation that when we're giving to our charity of choice or charities of choice, that it's just like 1, 2, 3 clicks. So I love the fact that a large organization like the United Way gets that. So now is the fun part again, right? So now, well, first off, it was fun. I love talking about the community. I mean, all you do is amazing. I love your leadership. It's just fun working with you, and fun working with the United Way, obviously. Now we have to talk about the food, though. So here we go. Oh, I love the crunch. Like with the fork cuts through it. I love that feeling. That's good. Carrots, spices. I don't know what else is in there. It's good, though. Now we got to rate this. Remember, 1 is Mia, daughter. She says, I don't want that. No way. Evan is a 5. I'm taking that from you. I'm going to eat more. And Mr. Chew, better known as Chewbacca, is a 10. I'm eating the whole bowl, the fork, and whatever else is in there. Where are you at?
I think the kimchi is a 7.
7?
Yeah.
Strong.
Yeah.
Strong. I'm with you. I'm going to give it a 7.3.
He has to do 1 better than me.
7.3. 0.3 better. Yeah, absolutely. So now we're going to go seafood. Let's go big. Come on, big.
I can't hold my nose in.
Bobby, we will do this. We will do this till we get this done right.
This is like eating peas when I was a kid.
No, this is like eating what's in my sink at the bottom. Let's
you're
go.
Unkind.
Big. There you go.
Oh.
Oh, wow. I like the crunch.
Oh, I don't even like the crunch.
Give it the scale.
That's about a -25 on my scale.
There's a first time for everything. This is our first negative rating on Healthy Bytes. I want to congratulate you. You've won a trip to the Bahamas. Bobbi, I want to thank you for being on the show. We've talked everything from United Way, the great impact the organization has, the city of Pittsburgh. That's a wrap for today's show. We want to thank you for being on it. And remember, when you want a bite, grab a Healthy Bite.